From the birthplace of intercollegiate basketball, Hutton Arena at Hamline University, we proudly continue our coverage of the 15th annual Pat Patterson Thanksgiving Tip-Off Tournament. Our next game features two perennial contenders in their respective classes, Lakeville North, semifinalists in last year's Class 4A state championship. They will face the Orono Spartans, a team that was knocked off by Monticello in last year's section final. Greetings everyone, Mike Peden here with Alex Nagel, our second of 3 games here today. That's why we're wearing the same clothes. It's all taking place in one day. Alex, we might be wearing the same clothes, but some different looks here from our two teams. The Lakeville North may not have the stars like they used to in the days of Rachel Banham and Cassie Rochelle, but they are consistent. 4 state tournament appearances in the last 5 years. What makes them such a perennial contender?
Well, I think it's just consistency and continuity. You know, they've had, like you said, last year getting to the state and getting to the semifinals, I think gives them a lot of confidence. You got to remember, look at their head coach, Shelly Stoll. I mean, she's been there as a player, had success at the collegiate level, and now she is coaching her alma mater, in high school. So I think that plays a big part in their consistency and continuity.
And Orono also a consistent contender, but they've had some trouble getting into state. Monticello knocked them off last year, and the Magic were certainly no slouch either. What does Orono bring that makes them a foe you have to keep an eye on throughout the year?
Well, they've got a lot of talented players on that team. I have not had the opportunity to watch them over the last couple of years, but I know they've been right in the thick of things. And when you're there, you always have the desire to get over that proverbial hump, so to speak. And I'm sure that they have unfinished business on their end. Well,
you'll get a chance to catch up on your Orono knowledge. Coaching staff still the same. And as you mentioned, Lakeville North making that switch, and that to me just adds a little bit of intrigue with their history. But right now it's about finishing this weekend undefeated. What will this game come down to?
Well, I think it'll come down to the point guard play. I mean, that's a spot, I think that really dictates how this game will go. Whoever, and especially in these early season matchups, mind you, whoever commits the fewest turnovers, I think, will have the edge coming down the stretch.
A chance to go undefeated and make an early statement on the run to a state tournament. Starting lineups are coming up. This is high school girls basketball on TSP Television. Welcome to what is a bonus game for us. This was not one of our expected games, but Alex here got a little bit bored, wanted some more practice, so we succumbed to his persuasive willpower. Anyway, starting 5 for both teams. We'll start with Orono here. They are the visiting team. Number 3, Karen Nelson. She's a 5'6" guard, a senior. Number 21, Danielle Jorgensen. She's a junior, 5'9" guard. Number 22, Rachel Heisner, 5'9" senior forward. Number 23, Tori Andrew, 5'9" sophomore guard. And number 40, Hannah Strigow, a 5'10" junior forward. Lakeville North will start number 4, Temi Sarda, the sophomore guard. Number 11, Polly Schoberg, senior guard. Number 14, Chloe Goodman, senior guard. Number 34, Olivia Bruce, sophomore guard. And number 43, Mackenzie Danks, senior forward. One player who will not be available today for the Spartans is Megan Mandel. She is the junior and their tallest player at 6'4", but battling an illness and won't be available until later in the season.
We'll have to see how that fares out for Orono here today, Mike. An absence like that of a tall player who could be certainly a difference maker in this contest. We'll see how huge that plays here in this game.
And we'll also be working on sharing. We're using one mic for this production, but we'll have our standard 2 camera setup for our last game of the day, Eastview and Kennedy. The Lakeville North, as we mentioned, got to the semifinal round in what was a South Suburban heavy state tournament. Lakeville North lost to former conference rival Bloomington Kennedy in the semifinal round. Would have been an interesting match had they gone on to face Eastview, but last year it was a South Suburban reigning supreme in the big class.
Yeah, they really had some great teams in there, as did the Northwest Suburban Conference, obviously. You look at this Lakeville North team, they know what it's like to get there, and this is an interesting mix of youth and experience on this Lakeville North team, and it's going to be interesting to see how this group develops as the season progresses, Mike.
And I spoke with their assistant coach, Tom Robinson. A lot of continuity, and again, goes to the coaching staff. Shelly Sewell Clemens now is her name, an alumni, as is Angie Craven. But Robinson mentioned they have a strong feeder program, and over the years they have been competitive. Of course, Lakeville won 2 state titles before they split in the era of Liz Podominic. And then with Cassie, Rochelle, and Rachel Banham, they won once in 2010 with that undefeated 32-0 campaign. I should say the 2009-10 season. And then Rachel Banham, I wonder what happened to her.
Well, last I heard, she was the starting point guard at the University of Minnesota, not too far from here.
And she will likely break the school record for most career points, but as I've said this, Banham is probably the best college player you have never heard of, and that's because Minnesota has failed to make the NCAA tournament since she arrived.
We'll see if that changes this season.
Well, if she can get in, that would certainly up her draft value, but right now it's all about the Panthers on the floor, and it's not just the basketball, folks. There are some multi-sport athletes. Simone Colander comes to mind. She's now playing soccer at the U of M.
Mackenzie Holman as well, playing at Minnesota State Mankato.
We're underway. Orono wins the tip. They're wearing the white. Lakeville North wearing the red. Orono defeated De La Salle to open the season 55-52. They came back from a 15-point deficit. Ellen Weesey, the head coach, said it was not their best game. Their shooting percentage was not where they wanted it to be, but they were very resilient. And we'll talk more about that in a moment, but Lakeville North on the fast break. The shot from number 34, Bruce, is off the mark. Goes into the hands of Chloe Goodman. Lakeville North also wants to fix something. Their free throw shooting, 11 of 21. Although it was of no concern, they beat Kennedy 49-20. Out of bounds, Orono, so we'll keep it here on Lakeville North's end.
Andrew stepped on the baseline there on that one, Mike. Orono seeing they can match up Lakeville North man-to-man defense here early on. We'll see how that goes along early on in this contest.
Too high off the window for Mackenzie Dank. And here comes Jorgensen. Off to Nelson. And our camera guy has to be extra careful because I can see what he's shooting when we're on the right side of the floor. So if he's not getting or not meeting our standards, I might have to kick him out. I'm kidding. But Tori Andrews not kidding about her perimeter range. She gets our first basket of this game.
Great basket by the sophomore out from the right wing.
We also want to thank Prep 45 for their online hospitality, allowing us to post our games to the online counterpart to KSTC. Hannah Strigow steals the bounce pass away. Here is Nelson. Stops, pops, short. Almost got her own rebound, but Orono tips it, and they hang on to it. That's Danielle Jorgensen. Now we'll try from the right side, and that rattles out from Nelson. Rebound Dank. A lot of these players on last year's Lakeville North team return for this year's squad. Goodman will back off. Coincidentally, I have not called a Lakeville North game since the days of Rachel Banham. Actually, I did once, and that was at this very event 3 years ago.
Seems like just yesterday when both Cassie Rochelle and Rachel Banham were anchoring the spots for this Lakeville North team, Mike.
Temi Sarda will go to the line. Now, as we said, Lakeville North 11 of 21 yesterday, not where they want to be in terms of production, but that was yesterday. You want to talk about things that seem like yesterday. And Kiara Buford's now a coach at Robbinsdale Cooper. Tanisha Scott's been coaching at South for the last several years. Sarda makes both free throws. It's, you cover this sport as we have. This is the start of my 9th season doing prep coverage. Names and numbers and people, they bounce around.
Lakeville North putting on a little full court pressure early on, Mike. We'll see how that affects Orono.
Alex and I are working on our signaling here since we're using one microphone for this contest. We'll get that sorted out here. And Orono gets rid of it before Jorgensen gets called for the 5-second violation. Orono content to run some clock here in this half-court set. Jorgensen lobs it. And the mid-range J from Rachel Heisner. Pulled a nice fake from the baseline to get open closer to the elbow. Schoberg goes to Dank. Dank thought about it from 14. Ends up with the inside feed, stolen by Heisner, and Orono will seek to push the ball, and they do. And Jorgensen with the left-handed floater.
Great start here for the Spartans in the early going, Mike.
7-2 with 14:25 remaining in the first half. Dank. Still having trouble posting up. Rebound went to Andrew that time. Stragau out to Nelson. Nelson decides to back off. And she'll drive to the lane and score.
Nelson did a very good job creating just enough space so she can maneuver on that drive, Mike. Good job by Nelson on that.
The fast start continuing for the Spartans. They're up 9-2, and they could go up even higher here. Not that time. Too high was Jorgensen. Tie up. And Lakeville North with the possession arrow. We're going to get some subs in for the Panthers. Number 11 is going in. That's Claire Blazic. We'll get the other names here in a moment. Also on the floor for the Panthers, number 41, Sarah Krinsky. And number 30. Well, we'll find out who 30 is. That's Jessica Montori, because she posts up and ends the quick start for the Spartans momentarily. Montori, a center. Heisner. Pump fakes. And then switches it.
Good job in the lane.
Orono pulling off their trickery quite well, and a blocking foul is called against the Spartans. Ellen Weesey not happy about that.
Good job by Timmy Sard on that one, getting in a no man's land, so to speak, but yet being able to draw the foul. This is what this Lakeville North team, they need to get some points from the charity stripe down early.
Sarda, 2 of 2. The Lakeville North, they've been consistent even though they don't have the stars that they used to. But when I talked to assistant coach Tom Robinson, he mentioned Lakeville North's advantage is their depth. They are a very deep team, and that's why they have been so consistent even when they don't have the playmakers you would think would get them to state. How about that by Heisner? I'd say she's a playmaker early.
Use the glass just perfect on that, Mike.
Krinsky, top of the key. 13-5 is our score in favor of the Spartans, and as you know, there is no shot clock.
Junior reserve Claire Blazak with that nice little behind-the-back dribble on that.
Montori, spin move. Can't finish. Rebound Nelson. Nelson sees a hole, attacks and scores. And Shelly Sewell Clemens calls timeout. Orono's quick start continuing 15-5 with 11:58 left in the first half.
Well, Orono's doing a very good job in transition, particularly Nelson. I mean, she's not shy to attack. I mean, she's going right in there and taking her chances, and so far it's paying off for Orono.
And your experience with this, Orono, as we've said, they've been a competitive team over the years. A good team, but they've had difficulty clearing those obstacles to get to the state tournament. You're quite familiar with that with a school like Park Center, who went to the section final in their region in 3A. I think it's 3. Lost all those years to De La Salle before finally exacting their comeuppance last year en route to their state tournament title. How frustrating is it, and how much of a shell do you need to get through a situation like that?
I mean, definitely, you're right. It's frustrating, and you just need to keep continuing to work hard and try to fix those shortcomings that you may have that'll put you over the top finally.
Alex and I have plenty of shortcomings. That's why we're up here. More subs coming in for the Panthers, including Taylor Fossey, number 25. And Blazek out there still. Montori, short, in the paint. Blazek for the old board. That actually was Riley Krinsky. She has the rock, kicks out to Bruce. And Bruce with the deuce. It's tough to hold on to a microphone and jot down all these names on my score sheet. You can't see it from here, but it's harder than it looks.
Nothing wrong with multitasking.
Orono not multitasking here. They figure Heisner's a hot hand. Keep beating her. She's up to 8 points.
Well, I tell you what, they're hot from behind the arc right now, Mike. And I think Lakeville North is going to have to put some more pressure out there on the perimeter.
Well, I wouldn't say behind the arc, but they're getting those long-range jumpers down. Missing the triple was Blazek. Offensive rebound, Montori with the putback. Orono looking to push. Jorgensen kicks out. And the pump fake from number 10 on Orono. That is Sydney Reiners. Jorgensen, nice feed. All board. And second chance points, Heisner again. She's up to 10. Heisner putting on a show the way Anna Schmidt did earlier today for Waconia.
You bet. I tell you what, they're going to have to find a way to neutralize her.
Heisner currently outscoring Lakeville North right now, 10-9. Of course, that will probably change. And a 5-second violation. Blazek held onto the ball too long. A rockier start for Lakeville North, but yesterday they came across a Kennedy team that really struggled from the floor to produce offense. Now you're dealing with a team who's being more productive thus far. A little bit of a different obstacle, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is.
Three on the way. Bullseye. Tori Andrew with her second tray. And Orono with a 13-point lead, 22-9. You thought Waconia's offense moved fast. Orono is 22 points in 8.5 minutes here. Can't get more efficient than that. Montori calling for it. She receives it. Thought about it. Trying to get outside the elbow. Fossey pump fakes. Looking for the drive. Orono was ready for it. They set up the double team. And once again, the out-of-bounds line seems to be Orono's biggest opponent right now.
The thing about when I watched Lakeville North here in this first half, Mike, they just don't look very decisive on offense. There's hesitation, just some miscommunication there, and they've got to clean that up. They've got to be more decisive with what they do on offense.
And the big element that allowed that runaway over Bloomington Kennedy was preventing second looks. Krinsky missing the floater. And Orono getting a few putback looks here early in the first half. Wow. Underneath. And making her first basket is Rachel Rudd, number 11. Lakeville North is fouled. Foul on the floor. So no basket awarded. Side out here, but how about that underneath move by Rudd?
You know, I think that's what makes this Orono team so interesting. They've got some underclassmen who can really step up, and so far they're doing just that.
This 3A class, I know Kevin Anderson picked Park Center to win the whole thing, but you know, if the opening weekend has served any indication, this might be a more wide open field than we expected, even for this Northwest Suburban associate. Temi Sarda, the only source of reliable offense so far for the Panthers. She's up to 5 points after that basket. Lakeville North scramble for the ball, tie up. Orono with the possession arrow, but Lakeville North starting to get a little more comfortable out there.
Well, and if you're Lakeville North, where you got to somehow try and find a way to change the tempo, change the complexion of this game, you've got to start with the defense. You've got to create some turnovers.
I thought they would have hit McCown with traveling there. She almost started running before dribbling, but hangs on to it. And a collision. Orono having a little bit of trouble pulling off those handoffs. But I'll tell you somebody who isn't having trouble, Rachel Heisner, as she floats it off the backboard. Sarda on the other end, draws the foul on Nelson. She'll shoot a pair.
A good move by Sarda there. This, again, Lakeville North has to be aggressive on offense. They've got to be willing to drive to the hole to get to the charity stripe, down 26-11 here.
And Orono, a resilient team, even without their starting center. As we said, they came back from 15 points down. And Heisner will head to the bench. I'd say she deserves a break after a 12-point burst in her first stint on the floor. But we'll see what Lakeville North does with Orono's top player taking a breather.
Junior Hannah Strigow comes in for the Spartans.
Sarda splits again. 4 of 6. Lakeville North, though, forcing the turnover on the offensive foul. And if there's one thing that Lakeville North has going for them right now, they have yet to commit a foul. Orono just has one to give. I know that's a little consolation when you're down by 14 at the moment, but a lot of time left. And Lakeville North gives it right back after the pass was mishandled by Olivia Bruce. Here's McCown. She kicks out, and Jorgensen will back off. Strigow. Nice play by Lakeville North to cut her off.
You know, the interesting thing last year in the state tournament in the first round when Lakeville North played Centennial, it was Lakeville North that got off to a fast start, and they had to hold off a furious Centennial rally in the second half. Now it's going to be interesting to see if Lakeville North can come back from that same kind of deficit.
And conversely, how Orono can manage hanging on to a lead. Remember, they had to fight back from 15 down before winning 55-52 over a tired De La Salle team. McCown stops, pops, and off the heel. But another offensive rebound. Jorgensen scouting a couple of options there. Lakeville North playing a man game. Rudd will head to the line. Rudd with one field goal thus far.
Rudd, a 5'10" junior. Very lanky, good reach.
You're gonna have to alert me next time. Otherwise, you might sound a little bit quiet on the microphone, or a little bit.
I'll nudge you the next time.
Nudge me, or just shout. That always works. A little bit faint. That was the word I was looking for. Rudd converts both free throws. That was Orono's first trip to the free throw line. And Rudd is up to 4 points. Orono with a 16-point lead, 28-12, and a very quick-moving game thus far. Well, Orono just used up their last foul to give, and 6:20 left. If Lakeville North can use this to their advantage, maybe they can get some chances at the free throw line. Lakeville North. Well, the Lakeville North not happy with this first half, I imagine. Orono loving this. They're stealing the inbound passes, just kind of stealing setup plays. And
well, I'll tell you, those inbound passes, those are really, those types of turnovers might really hurt.
And where Orono is struggling most are on the handoffs, but since they're coming from behind, so the player up front can set up a screen, it's less likely to result in a turnover. But the shot goes no good. Sarah Krinsky with the rebound. Blažic pump fakes, and they'll head back out. Krinsky has it. Number 14, Goodman, Chloe Goodman. That was a tough shot. Tried to get through the hole and couldn't lean forward. Jorgensen on a triple team. No, Rudd is there. More free throws coming. The second chance looks that Lakeville North was so effective in preventing yesterday. Orono having their way on the offensive side of the glass.
Yeah, they sure are. And I'll tell you what, Rachel Rudd is certainly doing a lot of damage down low for the Spartans so far in this first half anyway.
Rachel Rudd, the 5'10" junior. Playing like a starter, isn't she?
Sure is.
Four of 4 from the free throw line. And one of last year's semifinalists finds themselves trailing by 18 to a team that was knocked out of the section round, did not get to state. But again, we've said this before, Orono's a good team. Sarda missing the 3. Jorgensen with the rebound. Orono pushing again. Rudd will kick out, and Jorgensen will reset things from the top of the key. And why not? Orono has no reason to panic. 30-12, 4 minutes, 25 seconds left in the first half. Now Jorgensen fires, and that's off the heel. And winning the rebound is Montori, but she stepped on the line as she tried to get to Sarda. And Orono will get another offensive possession.
Well, very good patience by Orono in that possession, Mike. You know, they looked around, were willing to pass the ball around and look for a good shot. They got it. They didn't finish, but things worked out for them.
30-12, and Ellen Weesey feels this team has no limit. Well, again, last year was a very encouraging year. You get to the section final, you lose to a team that is also very good in Monticello, so it's not something you're going to be too bummed about. And she considers the Orono Spartans a defensively sound team. She feels there was no reason to believe this team could not make a run at state.
You know, early on in this contest, Mike, I just got the sensation that Lakeville North was just a little bit shell-shocked at how Orono was willing to attack the ball inside. And I think not until about the midway point of this first half did reality catch up with Lakeville North, at least from a mental standpoint, and now they're fighting an uphill battle here.
How much do you think that game with Kennedy influenced this? Because that was a very easy win for them, 49-20. Lakeville North didn't do that well on offense, but Kennedy just really struggled to produce. So now you go against a team that isn't struggling in the case of Orono.
Yeah, that makes a big difference because, you know, this is early in the season and you're not used to having somebody do that to you yet.
Andrew, no good on three-point range, but a foul on Orono. And if that is called a loose ball foul, that should send the Panthers to the line. It is called a loose ball foul. When you get to that 7, sometimes the officials aren't quite sure how to rule it, but that was a loose ball foul. Well, here's an opportunity for Lakeville North to get some points. Olivia Bruce. Well, comes up empty. Look out. Rudd almost got decked by the pass. Andrew pump fakes the three. From the corner, short. But Andrew races in from her spot to get the rebound, and draining the long-range deuce is Sydney Reiners. The offensive rebounds are just killing the Panthers right now.
I tell you what, that's just the thing. You know, Lakeville North has got to do a better job going after those long rebounds.
Foul. Claire Blazic will go to the line.
I think the goal for Lakeville North right now in these last 3 minutes, Mike, has got to be to see if they can get the deficit trimmed to like 10 or 11 points, which makes it a little more manageable, makes their game plan a little easier going into the second half.
This half has been all Orono. And intriguingly, these are two pretty consistent schools throughout. I mean, Lakeville North has had a lot of success with volleyball in recent years. Orono won its first, or I should say not its first, as Blazic makes both free throws. Orono won the state soccer championship in Class A, beating Washburn, getting their vengeance after Washburn beat them 1-0 in a regular season meeting, although Orono needed to get to penalty kicks. Otherwise, that match might still be going on because neither team scored. So these are two schools who are accustomed to success across the spectrum of sport. Those free throws from Blazic were her first points, by the way. Reiners thought about it. Orono playing very patiently on their possessions, a bit of a difference from what we saw out of Waconia, where they were looking to execute quickly. Lakeville North gets the steal. They almost lost it, though, as it went under the legs of Polly Schoberg. You're right, just get a few good possessions here. Sarda missing the three. There you go. Jessica Montori going to what you talked about. She's there in the weak side putback, and Lakeville North, you know, if they can get another score or two here, just get a little more confidence going into the break.
Yeah, that's going to be huge for the Lakeville North Panthers who are coming down the stretch of this first half.
Andrew has other ideas, but that shot is too high. Schoberg with the board. Schoberg going all the way and draws a foul on number 31, Natalie Smarin. So more free throws coming. And this is a shooting foul, so 2 coming up for Polly Schoberg. Schoberg, in the words of Tom Robinson, along with Mackenzie Dink, are considered the floor leaders. They're the ones that are always talking, getting everyone else involved, and taking the mantle of, we don't need to have one star to carry this team, we just need a constellation.
And that's what you want from your seniors.
And while their section may not be the toughest, and it got retooled, well, they'll face one of those opponents now in Shakopee. I mean, to get to state for as many years as they've had, winning one and with an undefeated season, there's something to be said about consistency. Everyone talks about the winners, and Hopkins probably sets the standard for that. They won 3 titles a few years ago. But these other schools where you think, well, they're done, their heyday is over, or they'll be in a rebuilding year, Lakeville North finds a way to get themselves back in the big dance.
Yeah, it's that continuity thing we talked about earlier, Mike.
Rudd almost caught herself on the pump fake. Holding foul on Lakeville North, not a shooting foul, and that's important because Lakeville North had several to give with 1:24 left. Andrews out to Reiners, now Rudd. Back to Reiners, over to Andrew.
This will be a huge for Lakeville North if they can get a stop here, Mike.
Andrew, long 2, swish. Tori Andrew still has other ideas. 1 minute to go. Orono Spartans leading the Lakeville North Panthers 34-18. Bruce, top of the key, now to Dink. Fossey, Schoberg. Sarda, 3. Cannot get the bounce, but a push. And that's on Smarin. Double bonus now for the Panthers. So they get a couple of free throws coming here for Mackenzie Dank. And we know the second half is a difference. I've always said the first half is an appetizer. The second half is the entree in the sport of basketball. So even if Lakeville North's down by 14, they still have a lot of time to work their way out of that in the next frame.
Yeah, true. They're going to have to up the intensity level when they get out to the second half here, Mike, and I'm sure Shelley Soul will have something to say in the locker room about that.
Well, their free throw shooting is improving a bit. Lane violation was called. So Dank, one of their free throws is negated, and that's a silly miscue in the sense of Lakeville North. That was a double bonus. Now the clock is frozen at 43.2. Now we get it going. We've had some issues with the clock today. Rudd out to Andrew. Look out. Bullseye.
My goodness. They're leaving her out there all alone from that left wing. They can't do that, Mike.
Andrew up to 11. Schoberg to Sarda. 7 seconds. Lakeville North will hold for the last shot. Sarda almost lost it. She's got an opening. Drives and beats the buzzer. And Lakeville North at least gets a consolation, but they find themselves trailing by 15, 37-22 against the Orono Spartans.
Well, great finisher by the sophomore Sarda, getting some points. It gives Lakeville North a little positive momentum going into the locker room at half. They need that desperately right here and now, Mike, trailing by 15.
But the big key is going to be offensive rebounding. Lakeville North fluent in stopping it yesterday. Orono having their way in the second half, and that accounts for much of this 15-point difference.
Well, and particularly the long rebounds that have been out there. You know, you can't let those just sit out there. You've got to be able to go after them. You got to use your assertiveness and aggressiveness and go after those long rebounds if you're Lakeville North.
We'll come back and go over first half stats and more analysis in a few minutes. This is high school girls basketball on TSB Television, the 15th annual Pat Patterson Thanksgiving Tip-Off. Welcome back to the birthplace of intercollegiate basketball, Hutton Arena at Hamline University. Mike Peden and Alex Nagel here as we continue our coverage of the 15th annual Pat Patterson Thanksgiving Tip-Off Tournament. Interclass matchup between Lakeville North and Orono. I knew it was going to happen. I was going to bumble that name once. It's Orono.
Well, that's quite all right, Mike. You know, I look at the second half now for Lakeville North down 15. I think if they're going to make a statement here in the second half, they've got to do it within the first 3 or 4 minutes. I think, like I said, I think first immediate goal is if you really want to throw a shock effect into Orono, you've got to be able to cut the deficit down to 10, 11 points. Make them think about it. You have to somehow plant the seeds of doubt in Orono's mind if you're Lakeville North right now.
Rachel Heisner leading all players with 12 points, and Tori Andrew with 11, hitting a few threes for the Spartans. And Blodgett draws the foul. On Lakeville North's end, Temi Carta had 8 points. And Jessica Montori had 6. Those are your notables for the Panthers. And Rachel Rudd also had 6 points, hitting 4-4 from the charity stripe.
Good strong move by Blazak, the junior, getting the line here early. If you're going to make a cut into that deficit, this is the best way to do it.
And Lakeville North was able to get to the line more frequently in the first meeting, or in the first half. And their free throw shooting better than it was yesterday. Blodgett up to 4 points, so Lakeville North should actually be kind of... Orono in trouble. Lakeville North pulling the trap, and it was sprung well. Bounce pass to Krint. Krinsky, but she had a tough angle to work with. Orono with space. Nelson backs off.
That was a golden opportunity right there for Lakeville North, Mike.
Tori Andrew, a golden opportunity to continue her perimeter pinpoint accuracy.
Well, I tell you what, she's been something out on the perimeter today for the Orono Spartans, Mike.
14 points now for Tori Andrew. She has 4 threes. Sarda, no. Jorgensen with the rebound. Kicks out to Nelson. Nelson with the baseline swish. And a quick timeout by Shelly Sewell Clemens. 42-24, an inverted score favoring the Orono Spartans.
Yeah, obviously not the start that Lakeville North wanted for the second half, Mike. Again, I think they had to make a statement here early on in the second half. Get this deficit cut down to about 10 points, plant the seeds of doubt. So far, that has not happened. In fact, just the opposite, I think.
This event, as we mentioned, going on for 15 years. It started back in 2000, and when I started covering this event, it was a 4-team playoff. They would bring in 4 folks at Hamlin. Of course, it would be centered around a Hamlin practice or game, and then it expanded. They tried 8 teams for a while, and then that field expanded to 12. Then they went from a 4-team bracket to a round robin, and part of that had to do with the playoff format setting up matches where you would face teams in the conference or lopsided affairs, so they just decided to assign teams randomly and may not draw the attendance of, say, the Maui Invitational, for example, but it's often considered the kickoff event for the high school girls basketball season.
Well, you definitely get some intriguing matchups, and certainly this is one today.
Neutral site contest for all of these teams, and that will stay with Lakeville North. Last touch by an Orono player, Claire Blasik, losing balance. And even this arena has changed. The floor in particular, that was updated a few years ago. Montori used up the dribble and didn't have much to work with. Rudd with the rebound. Andrew again, feeling it.
Wow. All you can say is wow. She's got such great touch from out there in three-point land, Mike.
Madison Giebert, you just may have company.
She sure might.
Imagine if she was on Maconia's team. We would have been using that today. Rudd can't put down, or I should say Blasik can't put down the answer. But a foul on Orono as they were bringing the ball up the floor. Krinsky taking a hard hit. So Orono will not get a chance to push the ball here, but they have controlled this one throughout as they lead 45-24. Still not a sequence of events that will please Ellen Wiese.
And Andrew, just a sophomore for this Orono Spartan team, Mike. She's going to be growing and getting better here in the next couple of years.
It was Heisner who put in the quick burst to start things for the Spartans, and Tori Andrew has assumed that role since. Now we're going to the other way. No, we're not. Another foul against Orono. Orono getting a little out of control here, committing a couple of silly fouls, really. And I mean, they're up by 21, but the more fouls you make, the closer you put Lakeville North in the bonus here. Montori, high dribble, and she can't get the roll. Reiners will shoot a pair. Foul on Krinsky.
One of the frustrating things for Lakeville North right now, Mike, is that they are getting opportunities down low. They're simply not finishing.
What do you make of Orono's start here? I mean, still a long way to go, but this continues as Reiners makes the first front end here. They could be in position to go 2-0. And I think outside of Park Center, we've talked about this quite a bit. A lot of other teams, kind of dark horses. Waconia, perhaps. And don't forget Richfield.
No, and Orono's got to be in this conversation as well, I would think.
We know it's early, really early, and we have about 3 months before we have to worry about who wins state, but gives you something to ponder about, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's always fun to talk about.
Well, it's nice to have a bracket where you don't necessarily know the outcome, because in the years of Hopkins and De La Salle, it was rather uneventful. Mackenzie Dank with a post-up move, and that's her first field goal. I mean, Hopkins and De La Salle, it was clear they were a level above everyone else, and nobody really had a chance to hang with them. Well, Kennedy did in 2013, but didn't have the wherewithal to withstand a Hopkins run, and now Lakeville North forcing a steal thanks to Krinsky. Krinsky, that was a tough angle. And a foul on Lakeville North's Mackenzie Dank. And the volume falls silent here at Hutton Arena. Well, everybody was kind of wondering what was going to happen next. And Ellen Weesey calling a timeout. Tori Andrew was in trouble, and the bailout timeout called by the head coach.
Well, despite some of the defensive pressure that Lakeville North has applied here so far in this second half, Mike, Orono has done a pretty good job handling the ball. They haven't committed a lot of stupid turnovers that would lead to easy Lakeville North points, and that's why we see the gap where it is right now.
So as our camera operator takes a popcorn break, 47-26 our score. We talk about that first week perhaps being the toughest because teams are not familiar with themselves.
And much less their opponents.
And so if Lakeville North, in their situation, how do you think they would respond to a game like this where they're running into some trouble?
Well, you know, in the long run, that's just assuming that they come out of the short end of this game. I think it'll benefit them in the long run. You know, in the early part of the season, you may hit some bumps and bruises early on the road, but in the long run, it makes you stronger as a team, and I think they know that they have some things they need to work on.
Fossey fouled Tori Andrew as she was shooting a three-pointer, so 3 free throws coming for the three-point threat.
Hard to believe that. She's just a sophomore.
And maybe she'll stick to three-point shooting. No, she
kind of stands out with those green Nikes and those green lime green socks.
I mean, we were kidding there because she missed the first one, but tell me somebody who has made 100% of their free throws. I haven't met anyone who can do that yet. Well, Tori gets 2 out of 3, and that's good enough for Orono to push this lead to 23 with 14 minutes to go in regulation. Bounce pass out to Fossey is open. Swish. Taylor Fossey with the first field goal. Andrew, that's her sweet spot. Rattles out, but Jorgensen with the O-board and the roll.
You cannot allow those second opportunities if you're Lakeville North.
Dank with a turnaround post up. And a steal by Schoberg. Has a clear lane, but she mishandled the layup attempt. Going back to what you were saying.
Those easy opportunities, you have to be able to convert on them.
And those are opportunities that come the end of the season will likely be made. We said this on Wednesday with Richfield and South. Some of these misses will be makes. It's just the nature. When you start a season, there is no preseason. Yes, there's fall league, but looks like Rachel Rudd is, well, Rudd is being subbed out. In her place is number 44, who will go to the line. Oh, they're going to put in Megan Mandel. Weezy told me she would not likely play because of her illness, but I think Mandel, I think she was getting so sick of seeing Tori Andrews score. I think she got better. No. She's probably itching to play, though.
Well, definitely a surprise to see her out here at this stage in the game, Mike.
She felt ready. So we will get to see a little bit of Megan Mandel, the 6'4" post player, and that gives Orono a lot of height to work with down low.
Absolutely. And it makes Mackenzie Dink's job that much tougher down low in the paint trying to guard her.
To say, well, Dink's job has been tough enough. She only has 5 points here, 53-30. So Megan Mandel, we'll see how long she holds up. Fossey skipping over to Blaszczyk. Around the perimeter they go. Fossey a little too far for a three-pointer. Blaszczyk in range, but that's going to be off. And Andrew picks up a rebound. Well, might as well get a few of those to go with their 19 points. Heiser hasn't done much since her fast start. She had 12 points early and, well, hasn't needed to be. And another timeout for Weezy as Reiners was flirting with a 5-second violation.
Still a lot of time left. 12-14 in this contest, Mike. This is you don't want to get careless or lazy handling the ball.
So with Megan Mandel suiting up and logging floor time here, what does she stand to benefit? Obviously you're playing, but you know, we were mentioning that she was sick, may not be well enough to play. Now you're seeing her on the floor. What reason, and I'm not saying she's being foolish, but what reason would encourage her to endure those circumstances to get some floor time here?
Well, I think probably just a desire to play. It's early in the season, and you know, when you're a player and the season starts, you're always hungry for playing time. You always want to get out there and be a part of the action and see if you can make a difference for your team.
(53-30). Tori Andrew, your leading scorer with 19 points. As if you needed any further indication of how much they have dominated Lakeville North, the Panthers have yet to get a double-digit score.
Yeah, that seems hard to believe. You would have expected that from Sarda or one of the other guards, but it just hasn't happened today.
And Lakeville North isn't the most prolific offense out there, so they're not going to have a lot of high-scoring games, but they're good for a few. Tori Andrew has been good all game. Puts in a right-handed floater no matter how many defenders are covering her.
Well, it shows that she's more than just a perimeter scorer too, Mike.
21 now for Tori Andrew. And a push foul on Megan Mandel. Orono had a couple to give here, but with a 25-point lead, they're not in any serious trouble right now. Blaszczyk bouncing to Montori. Mandel says no way. Dink says I'll go to the free throw line. Well, you see, even if he's having some difficulties here, the effect Megan Mandel is having in the paint.
Yeah. And like I said, when you're maneuvering and you've got somebody taller than you, when you're trying to post up, you got to make good decisions with the ball, whether you're going for the shot or looking to pass off to a teammate.
11:47 left. Dink splitting there. She's up to 6, but it's looking more and more like Orono is going to start this weekend 2-0, or start their season with a 2-0 weekend, since we don't play games on Sunday. Scramble. It's won by Dink. Good coverage there, but an off-balance and one for Chloe Goodman. Jorgensen could beat Dink and get to her, but unfortunately she couldn't do the same for Goodman.
Well, and this is what Lakeville North needed to have happen early on in the second half, just to change the momentum and get some confidence going their way, because this is really one of the first, fast break opportunities off the steal that they've converted.
Goodman completes a three-point play, and if it's of any importance here, Orono's out of fouls to give. So Lakeville North could shoot a few freebies with 11:24 left in this one.
Ooh, quite a collision there.
And that was an easy one to call on Lakeville North. That's going to be on Sarda, and now both teams are out of fouls to give, so both teams could get very familiar with the free throw line here in the final 11:21 of regulation.
Well, Reiners absorbed the bulk of that collision there.
Striga.
I say I've been impressed with Reiners, what she's done here in the second half handling the ball. I think very solid.
Rachel Heisner pure from a long range 2. You didn't think she was going to go away completely. 14 points for Heisner. And Krinsky can't put it in. Reach and foul. That's going to send Danielle Jorgensen to the line. Or it should. Yes, it does, because we're in the bonus.
Just to give you an idea of what kind of game Reiners has had, she just lost her headband. It was dangling around her neck, but it didn't phase her one bit. She got it adjusted. Now it's back where it's supposed to be. But that's what happens when things are going right for you.
Jorgensen more the facilitator than the scorer today for the Orono Spartans, but no pressure to produce herself with the way Andrew has stepped up. But Jorgensen makes both free throws. She has 6. And Orono appears to have victory in reach. Striga committing the foul on Dank. We could be here a while.
Yeah, we could.
And to have a word with our camera guy, but we're back to normal here. Dink made both free throws, I believe. Yes, she does. So that brings her up to 8 points. Orono looking to push. Too strong. Lily McCown couldn't do it, but there's another offensive rebound. Another second chance for the Spartans of Orono.
And you can bet that's going to be a sore spot with Shelly Soul Clemens after this one, Mike.
Jorgensen thinks she decided she wants in on this.
Yeah, I tell you what, got the roll. But again, that's what happens when things go right for you.
Bruce used up the dribble, floats it in. I don't know how she pulled that off.
Good strong move by the junior there.
Contact. Traveling violation on Jorgensen.
Well, actually, I say she's just a sophomore.
Lakeville North, if they want to work their way back, they're going to need to run and need it soon here with 9:38 remaining in regulation. Both teams in the bonus for the remainder of this contest. And that's going to be a foul on Orono. So Mackenzie Dank goes to the line. 1-on-1 situation for the Panthers. Lakeville North still thinking about the loss of their friend Alyssa Edel last year. Dink splitting there. I'll get to that story when we have another stoppage, but still something that bonds them, even if it's not for the best of reasons here. But Orono up by 22 after Dink splits. Rudd in trouble. Kicks out to McCown. Lakeville North still playing their man offense here. Rachel Rudd says, I can beat it, but she's too strong on the layup. Bruce has numbers. Blashik trailing down the right side. Bruce takes it herself, no. Comes up with it and draws the foul on Andrew.
You know, I think if there's one positive that Lakeville North can take from this otherwise discouraging second half has been the play of the sophomore Bruce. She's come out and been aggressive and has made things happen on both ends of the floor, Mike.
Lakeville North still with a long way to go, but they're starting to get some offense out of their players here, although they still have yet to get a double-digit score. But Bruce, with those free throws, gets up to 6, and that is something Lakeville North has improved on from their first day, and we always know how big freebies are in the sport of basketball. Bullseye, Kiara Nelson. Well, that's a way to quiet a potential Lakeville North surge.
Boy, it sure will. She's got great touch, too, from behind the arc, right from the top of the key on that one.
Foul is called. More free throws coming. This time it will be Polly Schoberg. Polly Schoberg has only made free throws thus far. But she's 4 of 4 in that mark. So we're back to a 21-point margin. Lakeville North going to a zone here. And Rainbow Deuce for Danielle Jorgensen, and she is the third Orono player to break double figures. What a game from the Spartans today.
Well, I tell you what, everything has just clicked for them. you know, in all aspects of the game here today, Mike, but particularly their shooting from the perimeter.
Montori kicks out, firing the three is Sarda, but that's going to be short. Nelson will not be able to get the pass, but it was last touched by Sarda, so Orono will hang on to it. And I see the Gieberts have arrived a little early. Eastview playing the nightcap of this one. And not too far from us is Matt Nilsson, the head coach of Edina. Andrew, now, oh, that was Jorgensen who had the hot hand, but not there. Sarda racing with Jorgensen and throws it up, and Jorgensen gets hit with a foul. In fact, I see Eastview's team has arrived. They will not play for a couple more hours here, but they are the favorites to repeat in Class 4A.
It's definitely good to see Eastview finally get over the hump after several years of disappointment, just coming up short. They finally were able to break through this last season.
Winning their first state title. A long time coming. And Lakeville North, one of their conference rivals, Shakopee and Prior Lake entered the South Suburban Conference, I believe. Lakeville North trying to steal the inbound pass. Gone are the Bloomington schools, but overall the conference remaining pretty intact, and that's going to favor, well, Lakeville North getting the steal there after Orono tried to go deep. But they're going to need a few possessions here in quick succession. Krinsky can't get the bounce. I mean, Lakeville North getting a little more production here in the second half, but Orono does too much. Nelson from the corner. That bounces out. But Jorgensen with the offensive rebound. How many times have we said offensive rebound and Orono in the same sentence today?
I tell you what, way too many times from a Lakeville North standpoint.
And for Orono, not enough, right?
Exactly.
Tori Andrew. Encore? No. But Rudd left alone on the offensive rebound. She can't put it in, and Lakeville North just abandoned the post, and that allowed Orono to swoop in.
Well, I'm sure these second and third opportunities that Orono was getting here, particularly in the second half, is going to cause Shelley Soul Clemens to break out the bottle of Tylenol PM tonight.
Willie McCown with a chance to get on the scoreboard, and here come the deep subs. And it looks like the Lakeville North coach, well, with a 21-point lead and 6 minutes left, trying to get a win here would be a little hard. So we'll probably see Orono send in their players in a moment. So we'll do our best to get names and numbers here shortly. Nelson. Well, now Orono's just calmly running a half-court set here with Lakeville North conceding the win to them. Andrew. Oh, you know the fans would have jumped up, or the bench would have jumped up if she put down another one.
Oh, I tell you what, she's been just almost flawless from behind the arc today, Mike. Hard to believe she missed that one.
Top of the key three for number 23, Caitlin Peterson. So at least Peterson will get on the scoreboard and make tomorrow's paper. Well, Lakeville North down by 18. If they had a little more time, maybe this would spark a comeback here. Again, though, I mean, there's some things to take away. They were more productive in the second half offensively. They need to work out on boxing out, preventing those second chances like they did against Kennedy. And I have a feeling Lakeville North will be a team to contend with again when we get to the section playoffs. And they have a favorable section down in 1-4A.
Now, no doubt about it. This is a team that will get better and better as this season progresses.
Spin move, can't convert though from Jorgensen. Nelson fires, short. Lily McCown. Orono still not sending in their deep players. Now they are. Nelson, count it. Nelson, the fourth Orono player to break double figures.
You know, I think for Orono head coach Ellen Weiss, she has to be pleased with not only how well the team is handling the ball, but also how well the players are moving without the ball. I mean, they're getting themselves into good position to make things happen.
So here come Orono's deep players. They include Lydia Farmer, number 33, and we will try to get the other numbers in here shortly. Nelson up to 12 points as she completes a three-point play. Also on the floor, Kate Boyle, number 15. 4 players with Orono in double digits, Lakeville North 1. But to finish up that story on Alyssa Edel, she was the student who was killed in a car accident right outside the school last season. As Peterson can't put down the three. Offensive rebound by 22. Trying to get all these names and numbers in is a little bit tricky at times. Riley Huda, now they go inside to number 50. And she floats it in. That's Kiara James, the freshman. Matt Peterson said with Lakeville North, the death of Alyssa Edel was a very harrowing experience, but it brought this team closer together in a sense that you can't replicate anywhere else, and that's not to suggest that what happened was a good thing, but they still think about the loss of their friend from last year. As you know, they wore sky blue gear throughout the season as Nelson got the layup to commemorate Edel, and so did the Lakeville North boys team when they went on their run to the state championship.
Yeah, no doubt. It was fitting tribute that they showed for their fallen classmate.
Number 24, Taylor Brown getting the basket. 52-71. Kieran Nelson getting a few looks here, and well, how about that from number 24, Taylor Brown. Well, this is a good experience for some of these reserves, and it's early in the season, so this is a good opportunity. And Kiara James will shoot a pair. One of the schools that helped out or donated to help cover funeral expenses was Forest Lake. And they're a school team right now that is going through a scary experience. One of their players was severely injured in an auto accident a couple of weeks ago. I don't recall the name of that player.
I don't either, Mike.
But just as Forest Lake pitched in to help Lakeville North, the Panthers did the same for the Rangers, donating to help cover expenses. And they understand what it's like to have a teammate in such a threatening scenario. So,
and I think in a lot of ways what happened last year really brought this Lakeville North team closer together. I really did.
Making the fadeaway is Madeline Loader. She's a freshman. And next month will be the 1-year anniversary of Edel's death. And you still see on some of the Lakeville North players the sky blue accessories. Some players have gone back to their original. Others are still thinking about her. It's one of those things you can never prepare for it. You just have to embrace it. And in a way, nothing will make you grow up any faster than losing a close friend.
You're absolutely right on that count, Mike.
But plenty to cheer about here, especially if you're one of the reserve players, as we see some fine moves being made. And there's Natalie Brecken. Well, you get to say you scored in your first weekend of play.
Good job by Brewster on that rebound, offensive rebound and putback. One of the few.
That wasn't. I think that was James you're talking about, not Bruce.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
And how about James? Up to 5 points now.
Obviously been one of the few bright spots in the home stretch here for Lakeville North this afternoon.
And yes, there probably is some folks out there saying, well, it's coming against the D players. I mean, hey, you get some experience. You get a little bit of practice here, and it's the opening weekend of the season, so coaches are still trying to figure things out. This is a good chance to make an impression and maybe work your way up to get some more minutes.
Yeah, and that's what these young players need. You know, you get out there and get a chance to get your feet wet, so to speak, and gain some valuable experience and gain some valuable playing time. That's what it's all about for these young players.
An encore from Lydia Farmer. An exclamation point for Orono's day. So all these bench players are going to be on the score sheet, so they're going to be registered up on your Hub website. They'll be in the paper tomorrow. I'll tell you, Orono, take a look at this. 10 players in all have scored.
That's awfully encouraging for head coach Ellen Weiss.
And this Lakeville North team, they know a thing or two about grit because they've had to rely on their depth and the fundamentals to overcome the lack of stars, quote unquote. And they've had some encouraging performances here. Again, a better second half. Got to work on the offensive rebounding, but they play in a tough conference. They'll be tested.
Oh yeah, and, you know, certainly a frustrating day from a Lakeville North standpoint, but you can bet that head coach Shelly Sol Clemens will get her team, her forces reorganized, and they'll go back to work, and they'll be better as this season progresses, Mike.
Lakeville North will be ready come playoff time. But Orono will finish this weekend 2-0. Lakeville North will go to 1-1. And Orono will run out the clock here. That's a final. 78-57, Orono Spartans win. And Tori Andrew, I would say, your player of the game in this one.
Oh, no, without a question. She really set the pace for the Orono Spartans this afternoon with her perimeter shooting, and it got Lakeville North in a hole early, and they never could recover, Mike.
And good performance from Rachel Heisner as well, Kiera Nelson, and, well, we talked about one dark horse in 3 in Waconia. We might have another here in Orono.
You know, if they can keep doing, if they can stay consistent as this season progresses, certainly they're going to be in the conversation, and they're going to be a team to be reckoned with.
So let's see, we'll get a word with Andrew here before we wrap things up in our second game of coverage here at the Pat Patterson Thanksgiving Tip-Off. Orono defeating Lakeville North 78-57. Mike Peden here with Tori Andrew of the Orono Spartans. Tori, you were feeling it from three-point range. We had 6 triples, I believe, from you. You were really finding it from the perimeter. How were you able to get open over there?
I mean, Dolly, our point guards, Dolly, Lily, Sydney, they do a good job of finding us open. they went in a zone, and that's kind of, they leave the gap open. But we did a good job penetrating the middle and kicking it back out.
You had quite the weekend. You came back from 15 to beat De La Salle, and you had a more convincing victory, so to speak, against Lakeville North. What did you learn about yourselves getting 2 quality wins here to start the season?
Well, coming out, we knew that we were going to be a good team. We had confidence in ourselves, and we knew it was going to be tough. We didn't have Megan De La Salle, and she came back here, but we knew we were going to have a good year this year, so we were confident.
Then before you got going, it was Heisner providing the quick start with 14 points, getting 12 in the first half. How big was that to get you guys in rhythm?
Rax is huge. She's always huge. We make fun of her. That's her home, down on the baseline. She gets a lot of those good shots. She does a good job of getting us off to a good start, and she rebounds well, and that's really big.
So what was your goal? Obviously, you would like to make state, but you're coming off a season where you fell short against Monticello. That would have gotten you into state. A lot of players coming back, pretty experienced group. Your coach mentioned a very resilient team. What are you trying to do this year to get over that hump?
Well, our team motto this year is "How about now?" You know, it's our time. We worked hard. We put a lot of work over the off season. Everybody individually had a good AAU season, and so we're just working hard, and that's our goal, trying to get a state.
And one of those areas where you were brilliant in were offensive rebounds. There were not many possessions where you or someone else didn't swoop in and extend it for the Spartans. How are you able to crash the board so effectively?
Well, coaches always drilled it into our heads that rebounds are the most important part of the game next to defense, and so we know we can't win if we don't get rebounds, and so that's our main goal. Just shots don't fall, you have to crash and get boards.
So with a start like this, what are you looking forward to out of this season, and what do you think we can expect from Orono on the floor and then off the floor?
Well, we're going to have a great season, and we're a tight-knit team together. We're a family. We're going to work hard, and we're going to try to get to state.
And finally, anyone who wants to say hi to that's watching this on Prep 45?
My family, I guess, just everyone. My family was out here today. I had a lot of relatives here, so.
Well, they had a lot to cheer about, and well, you guys were also pretty ecstatic when the bench was putting in some baskets there late.
Yeah, well, we're all a family, like I said before, and we're really into each other, so we're just trying to get everybody up, and it was exciting for some of the people that they cheer a lot to get points in game time.
Well, Tori Andrew, congratulations on the 2-0 start. Get some rest and get your body back in one piece there. I'm sure there's going to be some soreness tomorrow, but well-deserved. And who knows, we might see you down the road, maybe even at state.
All right. Yeah, thank you.
Tori Andrew from Orono. That will wrap up our coverage from this game. One more game coming your way later tonight.